What's good, guys? It is Sam here. Tonight I have an awesome video where we're going to go over our Facebook ranking of the Democratic candidates that are running for the nomination for president. So what we did was ran the numbers to actually understand what's happening, not just look at polling data. So with that being said, if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it's good to freaking see you. Let's get into it. Okay, so I've got Socialblade up here. What is Socialblade? Well, they track different social media, right? You can see over here a bunch of different social apps or websites, whatever you want to call them. And you can put in a user's profile, as I have done here with Elizabeth Warren and her Facebook page. And you get to look at some of the data around the Facebook page. So as you can see here, we've got talking about, which includes like likes, and it includes anytime somebody likes a post that you have out there, comments, or there's a bunch of things, or mentions you or anything. There's a bunch of things in there that are creating a lot of noise, but there's also some things in there that are valuable. So there's data in there, but it's also noisy, right? And we only have 2 weeks worth of data. So what we did is we looked at 4 factors here. We looked at the absolute number of talking about and how many people increased over this two-week period. So if you say something intelligent or do something stupid or are controversial, you're probably going to have the number of people talking about you increase, right? Now, if we take a look at this as an absolute number, that says one thing, but we also want to take a look at the growth rate of people talking about you, because that also provides valuable insights into the directional momentum of each candidate, right? So we did that with the talking about, but as well as the number of likes on the page. So the total number of likes over the past 2 weeks, but also the growth rate over the last 2 weeks. So some of these growth rates might seem kind of meager or small, but remember, this is a 2-week growth rate. So the numbers, if you annualized them, would be significantly higher, right? Like if you got these returns in the stock market, you'd be good, right? Consistently. So we took all that and we put it into this spreadsheet. And the top 5 candidates for the Facebook ranking are Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders. Bernie, what's good, brother? Tom Steyer. Whoa. Who's this guy, right? And then we have Miss Gabbard. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. We have a couple interesting things just immediately, right? Joe Biden, not even in the top 5. He's 8th. Let me say that again. Joe Biden is not even in the top 5. He's ranked number 8. I feel like he's losing a lot of momentum recently. But also kind of interesting is Andrew Yang is not in the top 5 on Facebook. And Tommy has moved up. What's good, Tom? So I've highlighted some of the first place rankings for each one of these things. And we're just going to walk through some of this where we have the talking about, right? This is the talking about that we were left with, and you can see Bernie Sanders has a huge number. But then again, remember, there's a lot of noise in this number, so it's not like some people might think like, oh, this is actually what matters, right? Because Bernie has 700,000 people talking about him, and most of the people have less than 100,000 people talking about them. Yes, to a certain extent, but there's also anomalies in the data where you're looking at one data point. And so there's people like Kamala Harris, where it says 113,000 people talking about her, but yesterday it was half of that. So it's a super noisy number, first what's included in it, but then also it's just one data point. But that represents 35% of the total average, right? Then the growth rate represents 15% of it. So if you take a look at this, we have each of the absolute numbers representing 35% of the total, and the growth rates representing 15%, because both of those data points are important, right? The absolute number of likes and the absolute number of people talking about somebody are important. right? So that's why those two factors make up 70% of the overall average, where the 30% comes from the growth rate. Because if you're growing at 86%, but you're very, very tiny, that's valuable, but you're still also fucking tiny, right? So we capture both of those in this when we do it. And the interesting thing, even though Andrew Yang is ranked 6th, in 2 of them he was in the top 2, which is kind of interesting. It's you can see right here that we just base across the score. Whoever has the lowest score, was winning. And the other 2 categories in terms of people talking about him is where he really did not hold up, because he ranked 9th. That's why he did not do well, even though in these top 2 categories, or these 2 categories, he was 1st and 2nd. There's still an opportunity to gain more awareness on there. Also, kind of interesting is that the only 2 people who are growing pretty, like, if you take 2% and you annualize 2%, and it's a 2-week growth rate, and then you annualize that number's pretty freaking high for 2%, right? Just if you took 2 times 26, right, that would be 52% growth rate on an annualized basis, versus a lot of these people, which are significantly smaller. And that 52% growth rate does not factor in compounding effect. So it's just the simple addition or multiplication of that. But these numbers are pretty high. Like, look at those 2 relative to everybody else. The only other person who's gaining a decent amount of additional exposure is Miss Gabbard, and she's still under 1% growth rate on that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments, where we take a look at this and what your thoughts are on polling data, which might have 1,000 people respond to it, versus like hundreds of thousands of data points from just people's behavior without actually asking them a question. And use the hashtag STOLT down below so that we can get into the comments just like this and go through some of these comments. So this one is, and I apologize, Kumar, but I'm not sure how to say your first name. Nivas. I might have said that incorrectly, but amazing, man. I really appreciate your researches. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you for the comment and for the support. If you guys know anybody who is in the media of any regard, whether it's new media or old media, or has a YouTube channel, that kind of thing, or any type of awareness, and wants some type of news that's going to be valuable to their audience if they pay attention to politics or potentially business, share this video with them. Get this message out about what we're doing. So we've got another one here. This is from James Rivera. What's good, James? I appreciate your comment. It's good to freaking see you as well. Anybody who's still watching. You are awesome, bro. Thanks for all the videos. Thank you. I really enjoy this. This one from Uncle Sam will be the last one here, but let's jump into it, where he says, let's look at Twitter. Bernie Sanders first place, Joe Biden, blah, 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 blah. Tulsi Gabbard, Andrew Yang's last, because $1,000 a month is for people who are so lazy that they can't get their butts up to support Andrew Yang. Go to Twitter and see yourself. Andrew Yang has the least amount of followers. I think the best way to respond with that is actually show you what the Twitter ranking is. And if we just pull up the Twitter ranking, Andrew Yang is ranked number 1. So we do the same type of analysis that I just talked about on Facebook. A new Twitter ranking is going to be coming out tomorrow or the next day. So make sure you press the subscribe button. But like, we already tracked that, and Andrew Yang is actually number 1. So I don't know. There's a lot of like insecurities about oneself and hate inside that probably is actually the issue that should be dealt with. And trying to, lazy or judgment upon other people. I don't know. For me, that's just not a healthy place to be. So I think that there's a lot of that going on that needs to be dealt with. But I really do appreciate the comment, and hopefully that is helpful in some way. I appreciate anybody else. Don't forget to subscribe and jump over to Instagram or TikTok. Link it in the description and say what's good. TikTok is really exploding. Check back on the channel for a couple other videos on TikTok and how quickly I'm growing on there.